Hey, what is up everybody? Blades for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. That's today's video, guys. We're going to be going ahead and doing a whole tier list video, and this is our monthly tier list as usual here, where we go ahead and place all the characters where they do belong, whether of course it's S tier, F tier, D tier, you name it, we got it. Now inside this video, we're actually going to be moving a couple characters around while also adding a couple new people here and have a new tier as well. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. We've been going crazy recently and I can't thank you guys enough. But without further ado, let's get onto the screen. So in our last video that we ended up doing a tier list here, you guys should be able to see it in a couple seconds, not parking this there, but you should see the tier list on the screen here. And this one is primarily focusing on the last video here. We haven't moved anyone around, they're still in the same placement, but as you can see, there is a new tier which is called S-. Now this was ended up being added here because there are some characters that are in the S rank category. The only issue is it's kind of hard to actually give them anything lower than A because they are very much so useful. But with this in mind, you do still have to think about it and do still have to say that there are some characters that are a little bit more valuable than others and have a lot of more viability when it comes down to different teams. So we're going to try and split those up a little bit today and actually have them in a way that you guys can see are way better than the rest. So first of all, moving characters around, there's going to be some movements here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with that here. When it comes down to certain characters that we feel like we should be going ahead and moving to the S- tier here, there's going to be a couple such as Bowie and Ren. Well, Ren actually might be a little bit lower, but such as Bowie. Now Bowie is one of the few characters here that has been in the game for quite some time. The only reason that we're moving her down at this point is because of her usability right now. She doesn't have a place that really can be called her own other than some small guild boss areas where you do need an electric team, and even then you don't really use her there too much. You can kind of use other units to make that a little bit easier for yourself, right? So unfortunately right now, even with the buffs that she's gotten, she still is going to be moving down just a little bit here, and that's going to be our first character going into the S- tier. This isn't really anything too bad, to be honest. She's not bad. Once again, she's pretty darn good. She's not bad at all. It's just I feel like a lot more characters kind of deserve to be in that position rather than where they are now. So some other characters that we're going to be going ahead and moving on down here is actually going to be our girl Vino. Vino has been here for quite some time. She's actually a really good character here, but at the end of the day, she's getting to that point in time where we have to move her down from the S category and put her into the S-. She's still an absolute amazing character here, but with this in mind, she does need to go down. Seeing there's now debuffers such as Matoi and Howler that can kind of take her place. Now Vino is going to be your budget option no matter what if you are new to the game, and even if you're late game into the game, you will use her over a Howler and Matoi sometimes, though it will be very iffy. So you have to kind of keep that in mind and actually see where that's going to be. But all in all, they're not bad characters. They just definitely have to get moved a little bit around. Now when it does come down to two other characters that are going to be joining the S- category, that's actually going to be the ma'am Marion here, and she's actually going to be near, I want to say here in between Vino here, and it's also going to be Cherish. Both of these characters are exceptionally good. They both have a nice sustainability rate here. The only issue with these two characters is at the end of the day, they're nice, you use them, but you don't use them universally anymore. And really for Cherish himself, he's only stuck to one team at this point. There's not really most areas where we do need a defender currently, and I please hope the devs can fix that, where we actually will need to use a defender inside of our teams. And the same goes for healers, where usually we don't utilize healers and we only heal with maybe Wonder if we really got to, or use an item. So there's not really a need for a healer at this point unless you're exceptionally really wanting that attack buff. With the at least occurrence of the next character being Ange here, she's going to be bringing a revive passive at A2, so even then it's actually going to be overthrowing Marion even more so if you have an A6 Marion, seeing that now that revive can be easily gained at A2 instead of having to go to A6 for Marion. So still an amazing character, but we're moving her on down. Now the last character, last but not least, that is actually getting moved on down here is going to be the person, or well, I guess not into S tier. I want to say S minus. It's looking pretty decent. Leon, I want to put him at the back of S, because at this point in time we don't use him too much anymore. But the next few characters that we're going to be going ahead and moving down is going to be Rico, our girl Ren, and then Florette. All three of these guys are going to be going to the top of A tier here, because they're not really bad characters to say. They're all pretty darn good, but at this point in time they're a little bit outdated. So Rico herself, as we do know, we're having a lot more Navi starting to get into the fray here, so we're not going to be using her too much over other characters. As for Florette and Ren here, Ren hasn't been using quite some time. She is a debuffer, and even then, as you guys notice, I mentioned Vino, Howler, and Matoi before I even decided to mention Ren. Ren has been outdated for a very long time here, and she's been hanging on by a thread. But even now, when it comes down to the curse teams, then you really won't use her there unless you have an A6 one. Then I mean, yeah, you would use an A6 Ren maybe over a lower awareness other debuffer, but yeah, you usually won't use her. As for Florette himself, 4-star as a 4-star, he's still absolutely amazing. A part of me wants to put him into S minus tier still, because he is a really good character, especially for DPS, if not one of the best 4-stars to go ahead and do it here. But this character is going down the list mainly just because there's not many places that we really need him just yet. So we're going to go ahead and move him to the A tier section. Now, we went through everything for at least the movements around here. Our man Leon is going to be the next one to most likely hit the chopping block later on. But for this month, I think he can at least exist for one more month inside of the S tier function. So with that in mind, who is going to be getting moved on up or down? Well, as for up wise, the only people that are starting to slowly move up the list here is going to be Joker. Joker is going to be moved up to at least, I want to say, in front of Haru right now, because he's in a pretty decent spot when it does come down to this. Now, granted, once of course the buffs do take place at the Annie update, some of this will be changed around by the next month, but for now I think this is a good place to go ahead and put them and keep everyone in a good section. As for the S plus areas here, the S plus areas, we're going to be moving someone else out of the way here, and unfortunately we do have two people. One of them are ones that I do not want to move, but needs to be moved. So if we're taking A0 into account and just the characters in general into account, the man Mesa and the woman Makoto, it is finally time to move them down to the S tier. Both of these characters are absolutely amazing, and they still do have their placements inside of at least the whole game here, but unfortunately their time has come to at least be moved down here, seeing that even with this in mind, they're kind of especially if you use at least go off usability. In fact, they ended up buffing Mesa recently just to help his bleeds proc a little bit more, because I guess that has been an issue for A0 users here, where his bleeds won't be proccing too much. So it's definitely about time that he has to get moved down. Still a top tier character, but definitely time he has to get moved on down here. Now everyone has been moved to their at least stationary spots for this month here. Let's go ahead and move into the new characters that are getting added. Now, when it comes down to the new characters, Matoi is going to be the first on the list here, and I would like to say Matoi, without a doubt, is definitely one of the better characters who has released, and she deserves to be put in the S tier section. I'm putting her right behind, of course, Howler here, and that's mainly because I feel like Howler is a little bit better. Not to mention, as a standard character, she is a little bit more accessible. When it comes down to their kits, at least they're not also broken with at least Matoi. The way that you do her rotations of at least her skills are a little bit funky. I think they end up fixing it maybe once they buff her, and which I think she did just get buffed, but only for her A6 here. So she may be a little bit better on the tier list for then, but currently she's definitely going to be staying at least in the S tier function here, being that she isn't really a bad character. As good as she really is, I do feel like that she needs to have a little bit of something else to make her a little bit better. And unless you have dupes, she's not really like crazy high tier, or at least in the S plus tier function here. So I decided to put her in the S tier function. You guys can let me know how y'all feel about that, at least in the comment section. Now, when it comes down to the next character, which is Akechi, although I give this man a lot of hatred and at least tough times, mainly because I really like the characters to some extent, but the issue comes down that this character's kit has a lot of flaws inside of multipliers and things of that nature. Though, even though we do have this as a baseline here, we do have to keep in mind that this guy is a sub DPS. he does do his job fairly well when it comes down to supporting that DPS on the side here and dealing some decent damage himself as well. So with all of this actually in mind here, he's actually going to be behind Matoi when it does come down to at least the S tier function. I feel like this is a good place to actually put him, and our S tier functions may be getting a little bit crowded, so we might end up moving Leon down to S minus, unfortunately, but it kind of depends right now. But right now I would say that Akechi is in a decent spot. He's not really a bad character, he's just a character that definitely needs a little bit of oomph, especially when it comes down to his kit. Luckily, we do know he is getting that nice old buff as well as a couple other characters in the future. So who knows, maybe in the next month after everyone gets a little bit tried out and we get to at least test out everyone that got changed, most likely he's going to be a little bit better when it does come down to at least how he does things for his team and or for himself. But for now, he's definitely a S tier character, and I can't wait to see what they end up doing to this man to make him a little bit better. Then lastly, we're going to be going over the newest character here, which is Turbo. Now Turbo is a physical support character here, in which this one's going to be morally helping out not only on the buffs, but the extra turn side of things. After utilizing this character, in which I do have a couple videos for you guys that actually showcase this a little bit more, I will say Turbo is actually really good. She's a really good 5-star here, and surprisingly enough, even though I thought that she'd be way worse than what she is, she really puts in the work that she needs to put in here and has earned her spot in the S+ tier. Now, some of you guys may not agree with this one here, but I will have to say, with everything that she brings to the table and all the 3 different skill functions here, she's definitely not a bad unit by far. In fact, she's a really good unit that we've had in a little bit of time. I think for buffers wise, she's one of the best buffers that we've gotten in a hot minute, if I'm being honest here. She does her job really nicely. She's also a good character when it does come down to at least placing her in certain teams now that we actually wouldn't have had this part of. And with Ange on the way, we most likely will see a lot more for this character as well. So it's going to be fairly interesting to see what she can hold for the future. I think that where she really would end up belonging here is at S+ tier at the bottom of it, or either at the top of S tier. You guys can let me know how you feel about this in the end of the video in the comment section. I really want to hear about that as well. But I do think this is pretty much what we're going to end up sticking with here. Okay, I want to make a god tier as well, or something else above S+, and the main reason is because there's a few characters that are kind of in that realm of the gods area. Cord being one, Futaba being the other, and then Ange being the newest one, who's kind of in that god tier area. You guys let me know how y'all feel about that. Should we add one more tier to this, or should we not add one more tier? Right now, I definitely think this is going to be crazy good. I can't wait to actually test out more of the characters when they do get the Annie buffs and stuff like that. We may have some that move up, we may have some that move down. But for now, I think this is the most accurate way that we can put for the tier list. So you guys let me know down below in the comment section. But till then, everybody, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day. Peace.